It's only when I got to university that I began worrying a lot about myself, because then I was in a foreign country, I was alone. Even if I cried, there was no one noticing that I'm struggling. So I pushed myself to the university doctor. That's when I started getting help.
So we talk mental health and you're already thinking, oh, he's talking about a crazy person, or he's talking about somebody who's not well, or people that have mental issues, I'll see them off the bat. Everybody has a propensity to be affected in some way by mental health issues.
I've made it a point that I learn my stresses. I learn to pick out what triggers my moods. And so when somebody behaves or acts in a certain way around me, it is not upon me to tell them to not act that way. It's upon me to see how I react to that for the benefit of my health.
With mental health issues, have awareness of how you function as a person. When you are feeling regular and it's a regular day, this is how I function. When things go off, have an awareness that something is off. Sometimes you may not need to know what is off, but that something is off.
2007, I was in university. At that time, our university had a population of 56,000. So I would multiply 56,000 by two eyes. So I just thought, every day I got out of bed and thought, there's going to be 56,000 times 2 eyes looking at me. I just couldn't stand that.
Oftentimes there are also manifestations of mental health issues that require intervention. Intervention comes in different forms.
I have a chain of diagnosis, but the first diagnosis was in 2007. Even though I was diagnosed late, it was major chronic depression. And then with time, because mental illnesses are, as they say, they're a spectrum, one can bring another. Then I got another diagnosis of bipolar 2 disorder and another one of GAD. GAD is generalized anxiety disorder. So it basically means I can get scared or, just feel my heart beating so fast, getting palpitations, sweating, getting scared, feeling like a bee closed up in a bottle for no apparent reason. And if that happens to an extent that it interferes with your daily functioning, then it's termed as a disorder. And so I have those, and I have to juggle between all of them, and I manage them to the best of my ability. It gets tough sometimes, and when it really does, like any other illness, when you get to a lowest point, you'd be referred to a hospital, or you'd be kept in a hospital. So I do get admitted in a psychiatric hospital sometimes. I get admitted at Sabrana during times when I'm not able to cope on my own outside.
In some situations, for example, you may become a lifelong condition that you'll have to deal with. And being a lifelong situation does not mean you'll always have a psychologist for the rest of your life. But if you have the appropriate strategies put in place to be able to know, this is how I can deal with my situation, do that. It's something that can be done.
I function like any other person, really. I've worked as a writer, as a journalist. I've won awards in my career. There was a time I was still taking my medications and still going for psychotherapy.